Hey guys, how's it going? Now check this out. We're going to talk about a rumor today. We don't usually do that in Cinefix, but this one is really interesting, so we had to go for it. The big news is that Universal decided that this is how we're going to deal with the Paul Walker issue. We are going to hire 4 actors and use CGI to replace Paul Walker for the rest of his shooting in Fast and Furious 7.
They're actually going to use some sort of voice synthesis to actually like give him lines again. So whether they get like an actor to say his lines and then they'll manipulate it to make it sound the same, that's up in the air.
But this is really like crazy because we have kind of 2 discussions. First off is this right or is this reprehensible? And the second one is we've seen this kind of done before, but this seems like it's going to be to a whole nother level. Like, do you think they can pull it off?
Well, a couple days ago, they actually revealed, I guess, in an interview that a bunch of the scenes from Iron Man 3 were not actually Robert Downey Jr. It was a digital double done the same way that they're doing Paul Walker. They're talking about doing Paul Walker, where they had a body double and then they did a face replacement. Completely convincing. He's running around doing stuff, and I had no idea. Tron, to a lesser extent, it falls into the uncanny valley where it's a little creepy.
Yeah.
But you kind of forget about it halfway through.
Right, but I think Tron is the one time where I feel like it didn't work. I feel like that it was weird, especially in the very beginning when they showed him with his son. I think when he was in the world of Tron, it worked, but when it was like he was supposed to be a person. But at the same time, this is not like, this is ground that has been paved before. I mean, even as early as The Crow. Remember way back in like, what was it, 95? Brandon Lee tragically died on set of The Crow, and he didn't shoot everything, so they were able to do basically the same kind of, idea. But that was not like a speaking part. That was like him standing in front of a window. I hate to say it like this because I really like the Fast and Furious movies and I really like Paul Walker, but what excites me about this idea is the fact that this might be the one thing that really pushes this technology. We're gonna see like movies with like, James Dean and John Wayne someday. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, and it's gonna be cool.
There's good news and bad news. The good news is that this is the most important franchise for Universal, so they're gonna throw as much money as possible into it to try to make it work. The bad news is Paul Walker only shot about half of his scenes, and he's pretty much the main character in that movie. So this is going to be really pushing the limits of if this is possible and if it will look good. And not only that, but are people going to accept this or are they going to freak out?
Well, definitely from a storytelling standpoint, it's the best option because then you get to wrap up this story that they've obviously been putting a lot of time into since Tokyo Drift kind of like derailed the franchise. Then you get into this realm of like, yeah, he's dead, and he died in a car crash.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the other question, too.
But that's the thing, though. It's like, well, the other way is you have to kill off the character, which seems a little bit more morally... I know. There's only one way to kill him off in these movies, and it's a car crash.
But they're probably not going to do that, though.
I'm thinking, like, if these rumors are true, they're going to finish off the story with him alive.
So I guess the last question is this disrespectful for an actor to just go ahead and kind of create this performance out of nothing? Paul Walker, he can't finish this ride, right?
Oh.
So is it wrong to have somebody, act as he would act at the end of his character's sort of run?
The animators are going to be creating these performances.
Right.
Other actors are going to be motion captured. That gets a little dicey because it's like, which way would he have gone with it? But on the other hand, I mean, you can't say that this isn't what he would have wanted.
No one has anything ever bad to say about Paul Walker when they worked with him. He's a super cool guy. I mean, he would even sort of say, I'm just a surfer, but this is my day job. So I think at the end of the day, from his personality that I've sort of gleaned from what I've heard about him, I feel like that if I were to make a decision on whether or not he would have been okay with it or not, I feel like he would have. I feel like he loved this franchise. He loved the fans' response. I think this is what the fans would want to see. Either way, this is still rumor. Maybe they'll go and recast it, or maybe they'll just have him, off camera sort of go away. But, this seems like right now very close to what Universal might do. And frankly, they have the technology now to do it.
I've seen a lot of these tech demos over the past few years. NVIDIA had a great one. Where they were actually doing real-time animation of this very realistic looking face. And whether or not our brains are going to be able to like sort of see through the illusion or if we're going to be totally tricked. This is going to be a really interesting testing ground for Hunger Games because they got the Philip Seymour Hoffman problem.
Right.
So whether or not they're going to have to change the script to write him out or if this is going to be convincing enough that they'll actually be able to do the same thing with him and actually tell the rest of the story the way the books told it. It's going to be very interesting.
Hey, they had Audrey Hepburn in that like chocolate commercial, right? So they can do anything.
She had sunglasses on, so they didn't have to
Good
She
point.
had dead eyes, you know. That's how they solved the dead eyes problem.
There you go. How are they going to solve that? But guys, that's it. That's what we think. What do you think? Do you think this is a really cool idea and a great way to end Paul Walker's ride in the Fast and Furious franchise? Or do you think this is kind of messed up and they should just go ahead and not do this because it's morally reprehensible? Let us know in the comments down below. Either way, make sure to come back and watch all the great stuff on Cinefix. We have a lot more great stuff coming up. Thanks so much.